बेटे मैंने स्टार्ट कर दी है।
Club is a place. Toastmasters Club is a place where we provide mutually supportive environment where each member gets equal opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed further, I request all of you to please put your mobiles on silent. Thank you so very much. Now I would like to request all of you to please recite the motto of club with me, and that is for better thinking, for better listening, for better speaking. We learn by doing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Now I would like to hand over the meeting to a person who is very energetic, whom I've learned a lot, our very own president, Toastmaster Hassan Akram. Over to you, Toastmaster Hassan Akram.
Right. So how many of you believe or think that words coming out of our mouth really matters? Exactly. So as we have the story, I will share with you guys. So once there was a boy who was very aggressive and very angry all the time. So his father decided to teach him a lesson. So he gave him a bag full of nails and told him, son, every time you misbehave with anyone, you have to hammer a nail in the wall. Son was like, what? Father said, no, you have to do it. Son was like, okay. So guess what? First day, son nailed 37 nails in the wall. Second day it was 30. Third day it was 20, and eventually it went to 0. The son was really happy and said, hey, Father, thank you so much. You have helped me in controlling my anger. Now today, there was a 0 nail I hammered in the wall. Father smiled and said, good job, son, but it's not over here. Now you have to pull out all those nails from the wall and come back to me. Okay, I'll do that. And after a day, he came back to his father and said, I pulled out all those nails. Father took his hand, took him to in front of the wall, and told him, see, look at the ball. The ball has got no ugly balls. It's no more the same ball. So he told his son that the words coming out of your mouth with anger actually puts a star on someone's heart, just like these ugly stars on the ball. So you need to be very careful with the words you are saying from your mouth. Son realized his mistake, and from that day onwards, he actually controlled his anger and he was very generous to people around him. Ladies and gentlemen, we all can relate to this story. Words coming out of our mouths, if these are harsh words, it can destroy someone's life. If these are soft words, it can make someone's life. And that's why Toastmasters, we are being taught to use the sandwich approach, because we don't want to hurt anyone, we want to encourage everyone. And that's what we all are here to learn, the art of soft skills, the art of public speaking, and the art of leadership. With this, I would like to announce the winners of the last meeting. The best paper topic speaker was Toastmaster Sarah Pravesh. The best paper speaker was Toastmaster Imran, so a round of applause for him. And the best evaluator award went to Toastmaster Akash, so a round of applause. And the big award went to as usual to Toastmaster Lina. With this, I can see we have one guest, so I would like to invite you here for who you are.
My name is Diyanatha. I'm here. I've been transferred to Rawalpindi from Rajasthan. But actually, I'm loving the work. I'm an engineer. And I'm a chemical university. And I was just looking for an opportunity to learn something, to socialize with people. So I found out this Toastmasters Club, and today I'm here. And thanks to Suhail, he guided me well. And I reached here, I think, 10 minutes ago, but I went to the wrong building. Happened the wrong guy. I'm in the building which has me talk in the front. And I'm here. So very good to see you all. And I think it would be a thank you.
So without wasting further time, we invite the Toastmaster of the evening, which is a very passionate, very athletic Toastmaster, none other than Toastmaster Slide Up Her Head.
Today we are going to discuss about the importance of planning. Now, plan comes in different forms and shapes. For Toastmaster Rabia, the plan could be deciding on how to fulfill a client's order, deciding about the ingredients that she needs, deciding about the logistics of how will the order be delivered to the client. For Toastmaster Ambrina and Toastmaster Anam, the teachers over here, this plan could be about fitting their lectures into the semester, deciding how to divide the curriculum. So plans would take up different shapes. However, it is important always to plan in advance. I would like to listen to a few stories from your side where better planning saved the day for you. Maybe Daniel, Toastmaster Daniel. No, we all are. We are not expert planners.
Yes, but I plan my trips, with friends. They go to 12 plan. We do well and every plan, but plan trips, there are up to your expectations. So if you plan, your expectations are what you have.
Okay. And one more instance.
As my profession, but whenever I have my exam, I plan my study schedule 1 month ahead. So this way, while I'm studying and preparing one subject, I do not have to keep worrying that what will happen of the other subject, because every day, like a whole entire month, every day is planned for a subject. And this way, the entire syllabus is also covered, and I don't have to worry about all the subjects at the same time. But I do have to really follow that plan.
So we heard a few instances from our friends over here. I would also like to share one instance. My boss always tells me that when I tell you guys to make a plan, the idea is not to make beautiful Gantt charts and beautiful Excels and work breakdown structures. The idea is that I want you to pressurize your brain and to think ahead. What can go wrong? What are the risks? What are the mitigation plans for those risks? So plan itself is not important, but the process of planning, that has more value than the plan itself. If the plan is not thoroughly thought through, then it is just a piece of paper for us. If it is unrealistic, it is just a piece of paper for us. And if it is not acted upon, it is mere speech and words. So I think with that, we understand a bit about planning, and we continue to talk about this throughout the meeting. However, for now, we would love any response. We would like to, the first one is going to be the timer, and the timer is going to pay. So let's hear it from the Toastmaster.
For a Toastmaster and guest, time management is very essential and important in today's world. If we know to make the time we can be efficient and enhance the productivity day-to-day life, it eventually leads you towards a healthier and better lifestyle. So in Toastmaster, we practice time management in 3 modules. That is table topic, evaluation section, and feedback session. So each timer, I show the green card when one has reached its minimum time, and for orange card for the mid time, and the red card when one time is over. So 30-second grace time is given to all the speakers to wrap up their talk. So topic minimum time is 1 minute and maximum time is 2 minutes. For the debate speeches, minimum is 5 and maximum is 7 minutes. For the evaluation, table topic evaluation, minimum time is 4 minutes and maximum is the 5 minutes. While for the speech evaluation, minimum time is 3 and maximum is 4. So I hope that everybody will keep according to the time and nobody gets disqualified of this. Over to you, Toastmaster of this.
Of time today as well, and let's hope that nobody gets qualified. Now coming on to the grammarian. So Toastmaster Amrina is the grammarian.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sana. I'm the grammarian. I will listen carefully and even to the different role players in the course, and I will focus the use of good English or poor English. And at the end of the meeting, I will report it back to the Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you.
For taking up the role at the last moment. Very appreciated. Now, another role player who has taken up the role at the last moment is the other Toastmaster Daniel.
Masters, and yes, I will be or the repetition of any other correct words such as below, I mean, etc. I will give them then you can make them aware of how I'm saying. The only time I will not read well is during the debates between hour and over times. I will keep record of the number of times each person utters the filler words, and I will report that in an order of minute. Even after giving my report, I will continue to deliver.
During the meeting, we will be voting for the best table topic. I will put the voting page for you and write the name of the choice. So let's after each vote, I will go around who selects the ballot. I will on the ballot to recognize the winner. I will not vote except the tie. My vote will take the tie in this center. We will have a clear cut winner. I should announce the winners and ask for the are scored by the president officer towards the end of it. Over to you. With this, we are all set for today's meeting for the benefit of our guests. I can quickly explain the 3 segments that we would have in today's meeting. We will begin with the table topic session. In table topic session, it is a competition of practicing your extempore skills. You're given a topic at the moment and you have to speak on that. Then there will be prepared speeches, and prepared speeches are properly prepared in advance, as the name says. And then there's going to be an evaluation. Evaluation, as Toastmaster Hassan has already told us, that it is going to be a sandwich approach, positive points as well as the negative points. So that is a very valuable session out of the Toastmasters. The value that we gain is primarily from that evaluation, on the basis of which we can improve ourselves. So that is the overall scheme, 3 main segments. We will now move towards the most exciting segment, the table topic segment. And table topics segment today is being hosted by our president. So the president will change his hat and come into the role of table topic master today. Please welcome Toastmaster Hassan.
Thank you so much. One second. Rabia, can you see me now? Rabia?
Yes, now I can see you.
Perfect, thank you. So how many of you are excited for table topic or nervous? Maybe. Is it the hand of nervousness or? Not nervous now. Yeah. we are just confirming you can see us.
Yes, I can see you and I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Yes. So let me explain what table topic is all about because we have some new members, we have some guests as well. So in table topic, we actually give a random topic to anyone in the audience and ask them to actually speak on that topic for a minimum of 1 minute and maximum 2 minutes. But before we start the session, I'm going to tell you how this will actually add value in your real life. So imagine you are at some big company giving an interview and you're asked random questions. So with this practice, you are capable enough to actually answer those questions in a quick way. Second application would be a marriage proposal. That would be if you are fighting with someone and you have to argue with the other person. So this activity will help you because it improves your impromptu speaking, which is thinking on the feet. So if you practice that, definitely you'll be able to talk in every situation of life because you have to practice this art. Oh. All right, we can start. So, who wants to volunteer for table topic? Toastmaster, Amreen, okay. So, your topic is the topic is if you could be any age again for 1 week, what date and why? Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hassan. This is the third hat I'm wearing today because I'm performing the role of a general evaluator. I'm also the Romanian, and now I volunteered to speak for the table topic. And a very interesting topic is given to me. It says that if I could be of any age for 1 week, what age and why? I think I would like to be just a week younger than I am now, because that would give me an opportunity to replan the week which I think I have wasted. Things are very fresh in my mind. I know what are my weaknesses. I know what are my strengths. So if I can replan my week, as it is the theme of today's meeting, also planning. So I think I would like to re-spend the previous week again. So I just want to be 1 week younger. This way I would be able to do things in a better way and learn from my experience and find out also how effective is my planning for the week. I once mentioned in another table topic session that I write down my plans, and most of the time they don't turn out to be the results don't turn out to be what I expect. So I'm a little disappointed. This way I will find out how far my plan is going. So I would like to be just a bit younger and not more than that. Thank you very much, and over to you.
Who would like to volunteer next? I have picked myself. I think I'm going to call Toastmaster Imran. So your topic is if you will fly in a hot air balloon over any city in the world, what city would you choose?
Hey, what I would say is I would choose any city in the state of, let's say, like United States of America. The reason why is because as I've been working in this US industry for the last couple of years, and I have a couple of clients here, and now still I'm working with a couple of clients. And whenever they visit something unique or something in a good place, they always introduce me, Ron, look, this is the city, you should visit here, you should come here. I mean, I still remember one day
when he visited a place, I guess something in Dallas, Texas. And at that time, when he told me like, "Come you should visit this place one day. This is a very good place. Okay, and one day you can come here and I'll give you your company at that time." So what I would say, like, obviously, as I've been doing working in this industry for the last couple of years in the United States, I would say like Dallas, Texas. That's the city that I wanted to be at. One day I wanted to go there and land there. Thank you so much.
Next, I would like to call our guest.
Okay.
In the course of your life, which of the two have said more? Am I audible or I love you? In the course of your life, which of the two you have said more? Am I audible or I love you?
Okay, let me.
Or if you want, I can change the topic for you.
Okay. So.
Do I need to speak different? Yeah. But you have to speak for a minimum of 1 minute.
I think life is, you can say life is difficult, life is training, and most people have to say, "I love you." And today, I was talking to my wife, and I told him an incident 3 times, but she was not listening. And then I said, "Okay, I will not tell you again." She said, "Why? The 3 times I was busy with the children. You have to tell me the 4th time." Then I told her the 4th time. And again, I spent the 2 or 3 minutes explaining her other things. I think you should all say the second sentence more than the first sentence. Because first we have to say this. And again, and the second point is it is better than the first time. And it keeps the connection and it helps you in the future.
That's okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Providing us with the honest response to that. Next, I would like to call Toastmaster Daniel. Imagine a few decades from now, telling stories to your grandchildren about Corona times, but your forward stories.
Hello, Toastmasters. My topic is that I have grandchildren, surprisingly. And I have to not convince them, I have to tell stories about Corona times to them. I will tell them that I am invincible. I know this sounds weird, but let me tell you why do I think that. I don't think that, but so, my family, my father, my mother, my 2 brothers, my sister, and my grandmother, they all got COVID positive. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. And 3 times I never had the corona. So I'm probably invincible to COVID. I think. So I'll start the story like this. That guess what? Grandchildren's your granddad was invincible to COVID. It's one of the deadliest virus ever. And they'll probably post it somewhere that your invincible granddad who never had COVID. I hope so. I don't have it in the future. I remain invincible to this virus. So that would probably be my story. Thank you.
For the next topic, I would like to call Toastmasters. Kids have a funny belief about how the world works. How do you see the world when you were a child?
Oh, thank you to Toastmasters. Kids have funny beliefs about how the world works. How did you see the world when you were a child?
I think I was quite a realistic dreamer as a child because I tend to dream a lot and I tend to dream a very realistic kind of thing that I'm very grateful are happening now in my life. I tend to, dream about going to some big office and having my bag and practice all those things. And most of the time realizing and dreaming about being a boss to some office, which I think will be true someday in my life soon. And all of my dreams are becoming true in my life, and I'm really grateful about it. So I think I am quite a realistic dreamer as a child. So I don't know if I feel that I am. Okay. What else funny beliefs I had as a child? I think one of the funniest beliefs that I had as a child, I thought we could marry anyone when we grow up. And I thought that and we could marry in any ways, like sometimes watching TV Star Plus and saying that they are happening, and I thought that all the ways are legend ways of getting married. So that was one of the funniest things that I had.
Next, I would like to call of course, Sylvia. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
So your topic is if you could change something about Toastmasters, what would it be? If you could change something
My
about
question is, what if I could change one thing about Toastmasters?
Yes.
That would be. Oh, okay. I cannot see the timer. 1 minute, please. Yeah.
Easier.
Okay. Okay. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, my question for today's table topic is what one thing I would like to change about Toastmasters? To be very honest, and Toastmaster has given me a lot of things. I've come out of my shell. I've started discovering myself, and it has given so much things, and I'm so obliged to this platform that I can hardly find anything that I would like to change about it. I think rather than changing it, I think we should upgrade ourselves. Just change is, I think, a very huge and a very big word, but going towards a better direction and going for betterment, I think it's a better word, or it's a more suitable word. What I would like to make it more better is, I think, making more comfortable going online and online meetings. This is one thing I would like to suggest Toastmasters Club. Other than that, I'm very comfortable and I'm very obliged to Toastmasters platform for helping me out. That's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Hassan.
You cannot say what you mean. You will never be able to still what I'm memorizing now.
Right. All the time, whatever I say, no one can understand. And same is going to happen right now. Because in my average speech, if you try to understand me, then you cannot understand. But if you are not ready to get my point, then you can easily understand. And now you can understand that I'm not going to make you understand anything. So this is the way we can also handle our table topics. We want to say something, but we do not know what we are saying right now. Sometimes we want to do like this as she is, yes, but it is happening inside us. And we need to present that we need not do like this because we feel that all the other people before you, they are doing like this. And they are ready to pick you up. They are ready to see you where you are going to make any mistake. But this is not the reality. Reality is that in table topic session or in Toastmasters, we are prepared in such a way that we are saying whatever we want to say because we have been prepared in such a way that we communicate each and everything up to the mark. And our audience, the people who are listening to us, they are really marvelous. They always support us, they always encourage us, they always motivate us. That is why you can see I am speaking right now before you. And I hope I have talked about those things which I want to say.
Next, I would like to call Toastmaster. Honor search is public. Would you be okay, embarrassed, or in jail? Okay. I don't want to thank the master, but I thank you for this. All of my legal searches are made public. Will I be embarrassed or in jail? If you had asked me this 10 years ago, I would definitely be embarrassed. But I think I've matured a little bit. So I can say now I'll be in jail. And the reason I'll be in jail is because most of my favorite sites are blocked. Many of my favorite Reddit bits are blocked in Pakistan. And I don't know, it's many things that I like and support. Society does not seem to like them. For example, I'm not very religious. I'm not a religious person. I'm more spiritual than religious. So this is something that, for example, in Pakistan, we have blasphemy laws, which I don't understand. I don't understand why there are blasphemy laws. Like, I think we should openly discuss religion. It should not be a massive problem. If I think the issue is that we cannot openly discuss these things because people get emotional about it rather than having an honest discussion with each other despite of our differences. And so a lot of my Google searches, I'm sure now I'll be in jail, but I think that shouldn't be an issue. We should have an open society. We should have an open marketplace of ideas where we should have the ability to discuss our differences and solve our differences with discussion. Thank you. Next, I would like to call our guest on the stage. Yes, you go. That's okay. I'll be giving you a simple topic, and you have to talk on that topic for a minimum of 1 minute. That's all. And if you're not certain about the idea, just create a story out of it. That's the technique. So the topic is. It's okay. And we try to all your questions. So, back after more dining table, one place that you think should be an absolute no mobile zone. Over to you.
yes, yes, most of you actually it is. But what I have is that bathrooms should be in Pakistan. I have seen in the mosque public offices bathrooms should be how we use bathroom in Pakistan. We call a bathroom. A bathroom does a bathroom or toilet. A restroom. But in Pakistan, we call that bathroom. Whenever we go to the people and our the bathroom. So that's why. So everyone is talking the washrooms or toilets or restrooms. And this is, I am a little bit, I'm a little bit. So that's religiously prohibited and it doesn't look good at all. That should
Next, I would like to call Toastmaster Anand on stage. If I were to check your hand luggage, thanks for your time.
All right. It's a very interesting topic. It says that if I were to check your luggage when traveling, what are the things I would find? All right. So I love traveling. I love to travel different places. And even if when I don't have money, I love to travel the places which are nearby. I can travel around. And most of the time I get it. Like in the morning, she was coming with me. Not in the morning, I'm so sorry. Like now, she was coming with me. And she asked me that, do you have a perfume? And then I said, okay, let me fish into my bag. When I fished into my bag, I found a bottle. And then I shared it. So when I am traveling, for example, on a hilly area, I would love to carry, it depends on the season. I would love to carry a pair of socks, extra socks, cap, or a shawl. And if I am going somewhere where I want to eat something, so obviously when I'm done with eating, I would, though most of the people don't like it, but I have paid for that food, and I would ask that person to pack it. Because I'm a foodie person. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Hassan. Over to you.
Next, I would like to call Red Bull really give you wings. What will you do?
Oh, thank you, Toastmaster Hassan, for calling on the stage. The topic given to me, if the Red Bull really gives me wings, what would I do? So one thing, I'm very frustrated about the traffic of the Islamabad. So one thing that I would do, because I'm a lazy person in the morning, I always wake up at 8:30 and I have to be reached office at 9 o'clock. So one thing, I always get stuck in the highway. So one thing, I just used to do two Red Bull and I'll fly to the office. So that's, you can say that add value in my life. And secondly, the one thing, because sometimes I imagine, like for example, that when the weather turns pleasant, when it's raining, so I just like to travel to the Natsagali or the Murray. So if having the opportunity like the drinking Red Bull gives you the wings, so that will most you say that wonderful and a phenomenal thing that I would be doing. So just going to the mountains of the Natsagali Murray and enjoying the weather. And the one thing more that if I don't get wet because drinking of the Red Bull. So these are the kind of things that I will do. So over to you, Toastmaster Hassan.
I think we can have one more section. I would like to call Zaid on the stage. If you could ban all junk food on the world, part one, which
Thank you, Toastmaster Hassan. And I would like to thank pizza because I love pizza. Most of the money you can get from my pocket money. I used to spend pizza from the tree, from ranchers, from Broadway, from different pizza shops we have in Rawalpindi and Islamabad. And I have some kind of a tummy, you can see. Mostly it is targeting that pizza. So I would thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I would ban burgers also.
You have so many leaders now. Simon, do you have a time or- Next, I would like to call Toastmasters. But here, three wishes. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. If I am found in Learning Islam, my first wish would be to get more time in a day, or like maybe 24 or multiply it into something like 36 hours a day. So in that way, first of all, I won't have to be Toastmasters anymore, and I would be able to join you guys every Saturday. I think that is one of the most saddest thing that is going on in my life, and I really don't want to go through it. Secondly, I would obviously get a lot of money. And as much money as this, I think I would have to get an ATM card which has as much money as it can draw, so no limit at all. And it should be a credit card which I don't have to pay back. Someone else, I don't care. It's just a credit card that I can use. So I can withdraw as much money as I want and get those pizzas and burgers. Stop having to go and eat banks then. And I don't care about the video. I don't think Toastmaster Adar and Toastmaster Daniel would care also. He, I think, really did trigger some pretty person people here. And last wish, I think I would want that for my parents to stay with me forever and ever and ever. And I don't have to go through the trauma of natural process, which is that people grow old and people die. So I would really want my parents to be with me forever and ever. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. With this, I think we are done with the topic session.
Toastmaster Daniel, Toastmaster Sana, Toastmaster Rabia, Toastmaster Humayun, Toastmaster Adil, Toastmaster Rashid, Toastmaster Anam, Toastmaster Sudev, Toastmaster Zaid, and Toastmaster.
A lot of Toastmasters today. So you guys can vote for the best speaker. Before we go to the break, for the newbies, let me tell you what this session is all about. So there are three segments in Toastmasters. One is the table topic that was happening, in which we gave and learned from a very random person. And this actually helps improve your impromptu speaking. So when you are somewhere for the interview, this will help you a lot. When you are having an argument with someone, this will help you a lot. So this had a lot of advantages in real life as well. Second session after the break is going to be a prepared speakers session where prepared speeches will be delivered for the members, one of the great members. So then we're going to be three speeches. And the last segment is the evaluation of these several topics, the speeches, and the in general. So these are the three segments as a part of this. Definitely, you will have enough. With this, we are going on a break of 15 minutes. We'll be back by 5:30. So we have a expert over there. Guys can go and ask questions. Rabia, see you after 15 minutes.
Okay, inshallah. Thank you.
Systems that we all come back on time and we are starting on time. So the last time that we left, we were talking about plans without action. So if a plan remains without action, is useless. What are the techniques which people have advised for a successful plan or for successful execution of a plan? So here are two books that I would like to share with you. The first one is called Outliers, and it is by Malcolm Gladwell. Outliers does not exactly pinpoint how to execute a plan, but it does pinpoint that in order to excel in any field, whether it is to be a good planner or to be a good stock manager, to be a good teacher, or to be a good corporate person, you have to spend 10,000 hours. It's the very famous rule of 10,000 hours. So if you spend 10,000 hours studying, listening to podcasts, all of that combined on one particular skill, then it is kind of a given that you'll become an expert. So in this book, he quotes many personalities, including the likes of Bill Gates and highly successful people, that they have actually spent 10,000 hours, which includes reading, listening, communicating with the relevant people. The other book is by Robin Sharma, and it is the 5 a.m. Club. Again, this is not a direct hint towards better planning, but it is giving us an umbrella rule. If we wake up early in the morning and we use those hours of raw energy, that makes a difference. So these are the two tips: 10,000 hours rule, waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, which means that when we wake up early, we would plan our day in advance. We would write some notes about what is to be accomplished in the day and use that raw energy. From the religious point of view as well, we believe that there is more barakat in the day's time, in those hours of early morning. And we can agree or disagree with it based on our personal experiences. I personally agree with it, that those 2 or 3 hours early in the morning, we can accomplish more than any other 2 or 3 hours during the day. However, it is difficult to stay consistent in that routine of waking up at 5 a.m. With that, let's move on to the first speech.
The 10,000 hours I've heard this a lot. How do they record it? Like, how do you keep track of it? Because I've tried, and after 6 months or a year, you lose track. How did they keep track?
That's a good question. I'm also not sure, like, how will I track it? But randomly, I can say that, for example, my field is project management. I can surely say that I'm nowhere near 10,000 hours of reading material about project management or doing active project management. So you're right. It may be tough to keep log or to keep diary of what I did and exactly for how many hours. But I personally think that we can convert it into maybe days. And even if we have plus minus 20%, it won't measure. Even if you reach 8,000 hours, that would be fine. But still, if I have to do it, I'll probably convert it into days. And in a day's time, I know that if I work actively for 8 hours, even that has a margin of 2 hours, let's say. So active hours would be 4 to 5 hours a day in my 8 hours job, let's say. So probably some kind of an estimate game.
Someone told me, I was having this discussion, and it took me 10 years as a good time for 10,000 hours. Like 10 years in
Okay, perfect.
I can vouch for that because I've been doing work on for the past 10 years. Yes, that really applies. I have the example part here.
So you think of yourself as an expert in work?
Yes. I love
Very
that
good.
stuff, yeah.
Very. So your rule is applicable. We have the live example of an expert who worked out rules.
But I disagree. I think in order to become an expert in anything, you can do it more efficiently over the time, having more experience in that particular task or particular field, or you can learn more in less time. So 10,000 hours could be benchmark, but you can learn things fast and become an expert.
Of course, that you also agree. But he has given various examples of various football players, especially from the sports field, that they joined at the age of 18, and then by the time they grew up to this age, Even he goes to that extent that he says that in a particular sports team of a particular country, you will find players who are born in June and July. What is the reason for it? Why is that a coincidence that all of the players are such who are born within those 3 months? So even he goes to that extent. So that is kind of a research that he has done, and he has proved with his research that all of the people who are successful right now, or at least those that he has quoted in this book called Outliers, they have spent 10,000 hours. So that is why he's advising us to spend. So you can say that, take it as a rule of thumb. So if you have to excel in digital marketing, let's say, so you have to spend 10,000 hours, and for sure you will be an expert. You can be an expert before that as well. So even in a year or two, people can accept you as a go-to person of digital marketing. But if you spend 10,000 hours, so nobody can deny your rule over the digital marketing industry. So that's it. And then let's move on to the first speaker. This is now basically the prepared speeches segment that we are starting. Yes, sir.
I only have to put in first of all the year of 10, and all we have to ball in one. We have got one thing. I'm happy that I can be born in.
Same here. I'm also one. But none of us is an expert, so that's a sad thing. So we have to try and be an expert.
Yeah, that is fine.
Yeah. But that doesn't really matter, unless and until you have the quality.
Remember this time that all time. Remember this time.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
What was the book name?
Outliers. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
So what I realized is it's more important thing, like if you do something, you have to be consistent for rather than
Exactly. And then automatically your 10,000 hours will be completed if you can be that consistent. Yeah. Very nice. Good perspective. I like it.
I got a lot of questions. Nice. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay. So the first speaker who is going to give her maybe the last speech. At RTC, we do not hope it to be so. Maybe after a year she joins us again. But we are very hopeful because of the lack of time that she has. That is why we are going to have her farewell speech, so to say, and that is also the completion of her level 3. So this speech will be given by Toastmaster Sarah Lilani, and the speech is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Rabia. Toastmaster Rabia, can you please explain the purpose of her speech?
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Saira. Toastmaster Cyril will be delivering Project 3, Level 3 of Dynamic Leadership. Her purpose of speech is to learn about different types of negotiations and the strategies that can be used when negotiating. And she has to share some aspect of her life that affected the negotiations in her speech. That's all from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster Saira.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the ex-executive committee member, and I would like all of you to please stand up because for your speech, please welcome Toastmaster Saira.
Should I elaborate? These questions and the points of the negotiation technique can result in an outcome, both favorable or in a loss of an opportunity, which can have consequences. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, some of you, by now, I think all of you are aware of the negotiations that I've been having with Toastmaster Hassan and Akash lately regarding whether or not should I continue Toastmasters because of my added work schedule and my articles. And as a result, I stand here today with a very heavy heart, delivering my last project, knowing that I would not be able to be a part of this family for I do not know how long, and it deeply saddens me. I wish I did not have to make this choice, and and I really do not see any other option. So talking about negotiation is a method by which to settle differences. It is a process to reach an agreement by avoiding dispute. As Toastmaster Adam also said, this is something that we really need so that we can open out with our ideas and ideologies and agree to each other without disagreeing in a negative way. I already mentioned about consequences. So choosing a wrong negotiation style, assume at your workplace, can result in losing a key supplier or can even cause a rift with a major stakeholder that can lead you to face disciplinary action or can even lead you to lose your job. In my case, a wrong negotiation technique by either of the parties would have caused resentment among both of them for not being able to understand each other's stance. Another example, we have a lot of married people here, right? I'm sure that you definitely understand the importance of negotiation in your life. However, none in case you are the husband, because there is no negotiation when the counterparty is your wife. All you can really do is be accommodating, and that is. The jokes apart, if you're negotiating in a business environment, it is very important to maintain a professional and appropriate composure. Because being aggressive or losing your temper would make your counterparty harden its stance even more, and you would not be able to reach a successful negotiation. However, if you do manage to maintain a calm and appropriate composure, both the parties will be willing to compromise and reach a negotiation outcome which will satisfy both of them. Such choosing a negotiation style also depends on the situation, circumstances, and importantly, the counterpart. First of all, we have the comparative negotiation style. Now, this negotiation style values one's own goal more than the relationship. It can also be defined as I win, you lose. And this kind of negotiation should only and is mostly used in an emergency situation where a quick decision really needs to be made. Then moving on to a compromising negotiation style. This negotiation style is used when one values the relationship as well as the goal of themselves both. It can also be defined as I win some and you win some approach. This is usually used when a deadline is near and both the parties are in a deadlock. Now, in my honest opinion, I think this is the most common kind of negotiation that can happen between siblings. Siblings are an eternal partner in crime, and reaching a dead-end negotiation can cost them their secrets of lifetime. And I'm sure no one would really want to do that. So no other choice but to compromise every single time. And kid you not, these compromises have to be made at the most petty things, especially in my house. For example, who is going to give up on that last packet of Lay's, and who is going to bring that charger from the other room? Or who is going to do those loads of dishes, and in front, who is going to dust the entire living? That's really true, and I'm sure that most of you also have had such experiences in your life too. With this, moving on to our next negotiation style, that is the accommodating negotiation style. In this negotiating style, valuing the relationship is more important than one's own goal. It tends to satisfy the needs of the other party more than ourselves. It is used when peace is more important than winning, especially when the counterparty, as I mentioned earlier, is your wife. So I hope you learned something out of it. Last but not least, the collaborative negotiation style. Now, this negotiation style is mostly used when a variety of viewpoints need to be brought together to reach an optimum solution. It is mostly used in the corporate environment, in our offices, in our schools, amongst the teachers and staff. And this kind of negotiation values both the relationship and the goals of both of the parties. So by now, we do understand that negotiation is very important and common in our daily lives. All of us have been using negotiation, either in our interpersonal, either in our personal or professional life. The ability to negotiate requires a blend of both the interpersonal and communication skills. So I would really say that one must possess the ability to negotiate as it comes in hand in person of life, be it at your work with your boss or at your home with the real boss. With this, I would like to conclude my farewell speech. I wish the best of luck to this club, and I hope that under this new executive council and the new faces and passionate members that I see, I hope that this club reaches new heights. And thank you all once again for this amazing experience and I'm getting very emotional and the lifetime of memories. And now I truly understand what Toastmasters states that Toastmasters is not just a platform, but a way of life that has transformed me into a more confident and compassionate person.
Wish you best of luck in all of your endeavors. We wish you the best accountant in Pakistan, chartered accountant in Pakistan, right? And hope to be in contact with you maybe later. Anybody who needs the service of a chartered accountant, but that would come with a pay. So, anyways, now let's get back to our topic of planning. While we've discussed the importance of planning, another aspect that comes along with it are the repercussions of poor planning. What happens when our planning goes wrong? Would any one of you first like to explain or share an instance where your planning went wrong and the results were horrible? Yes, those ones.
Many times. That means often do wrong. And it's very, very disappointing and it's disturbing. But every time I need to better that disappointment after bad planning or failed planning is then yesterday is over or today is over. Tomorrow is still a plan sheet and I can replan and I can execute that plan.
Right. Good. Very good. Okay. So she's very right that planning can go wrong, and when it goes wrong at our individual level, the repercussions may not be as heavy as when it goes wrong at a corporate level. So I would like to share with you the acquisition of Skype by eBay. eBay is an e-commerce website. They acquired Skype. Skype is a video communication tool, as you all know. They thought that somehow it was planned by their master planners that Skype would make the communication between the seller and the buyer more exciting. That would increase their revenue, that would increase their sales. But that turned out to be completely untrue. After they spent millions and millions of dollars on the acquisition of Skype, that relationship could not be established. Vendor and seller would not like to contact on video via Skype. So they had to then sell off all of the shares of Skype. This is just one example, but the corporate industry is full of such examples of poor planning, even though they have planners who are experienced. But as Toastmaster Amrina said, planning can go wrong, and it always goes wrong. Generally, it does go wrong. It does go wrong. Only with experience you come to understand what plan would be realistic. With time you improve. Even then, you're not 100% sure that the plan that I've made, I would never be able to give a guarantee that my plan would always work. Without taking any further respite, let's move on to our next speaker. The speaker is Toastmaster Rashid, and he's also coming to the floor after a very long time for a prepared speech, although for table topic. Now he's a very regular face, and his speech is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Humayun. Toastmaster Humayun, can you please let us know his purpose of speech?
He's presenting one level 2 of dynamic leadership. The title of this speech is the most effective leadership style for you. And then the purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others.
So what are the leadership styles? What we face? It is most important. These are the leadership styles. I want autocratic, dictatorial, or narcissistic. Right. There are dozens of leadership styles, classical and not. So the next personal and more specific question is, what is your leadership style? I will tell everybody that everyone is a leader, but
It depends on the situation. You have to mold your leadership style according to the situation which you're facing.
my adopted style. Yes. Accommodative, another.
Appreciating other manners subtly.
Okay. There's you have natural leadership styles as a result of your personality, your values, your strengths, and your experiences. Different people have different leadership styles. Sharing my personal experience is that I always had autocratic. That is natural. I have natural the past. But then two protests were staged by the staff. And I thought that I need to revisit my leadership style. Then I studied it, and I found out that most of the business leadership and leaders were most effective. They have evolved a leadership style which Toastmaster Hassan has a situational approach to leadership style or agile leadership, or as it has been now coined by or rephrased by Toastmaster of Mind, accommodative style. So I learned the best. Now, I have not forsaken my own personal natural leadership. That is dictatorial, being a bureaucrat, and narcissistic, like Nazi style. I use that a lot in bureaucratic structures. So what I do that when I have, but I have molded it to some extent. When there is some emergency, and I have to make a decision on the spot, there is some battlefield-like situation. I use autocratic. Then I also use authoritative leadership. Authoritative leadership style is when you are authority on something. You are very confident, very dear person. You have a lot of knowledge. You have sufficient vision. And you are better than others. Then you can use authoritative leadership style. I use that style. Then I use democratic leadership style, definitely, where I see that I have to launch some project. There is a requirement of some innovation or creativity, or I have to tackle some problem, and I seek opinions of my teams, and then I make a fund. I do use this is where when my team members are very much experienced, highly skilled, and
they are self-starters and self-motivated. I get them same way that there is less need. So I have input for all of you. That is, I can give you tips how to evolve this or learn this leadership style, this situational approach. How many of you are want to learn that? So, first of all, what you need to do is to learn different leadership styles and study it from them. And then you have to know your dominant or prevalent leadership style, which is your personal leadership style, how you lead the team or the team member. Then, in addition to use of your own personal natural leadership style, you can practice other leadership styles according to the situation, the team member, or the team you're with. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, we are living. We have a diverse workforce, and we can deal with the 21st century challenge only through the situational approach to leadership style or the agile leadership. And you have to use this and you will become an effective leader, I'm sure, what you do.
Thank you, Mr. Rashid. And I have just realized that it's very good that at Toastmasters, because of the environment of the Toastmasters, you do not get to see the angry side of our members and the authoritative leader within them. So Toastmasters tries to curb that emotion of ours. So that's something that I've realized, and I'm certainly grateful of this environment. Now moving on to our next speaker. The next speaker is somebody who has recently executed a project, and that also aligns with our topic for today, which is planning. So as we discussed last week as well, Toastmaster Akash's Toastmaster Club, which is the Twin Cities Club. She was a prime member of the planning committee, and she really executed it very well. So we can have some tips from her side as well about the planning, and that was executed very well as well, and that is why the results were good too. Her speech today is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster Atif Naeem. Toastmaster Atif, can we please listen about the purpose of speech?
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Pinto. Toastmaster Sana will be delivering project 3 of level 1 of the pathway presentation mastery. The purpose of this speech is to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on a topic.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Toastmaster Sana.
It is really an honor for me to evaluate a seasoned Toastmaster for her farewell speech. And somehow,
Toastmaster dancing is there. So today, the topic of my speech is this. What is this to you?
Sugar.
For you, it's sugar. For me, it's a sugar is our drug less than corrected. Have you ever been curious what does sugar do in our brain?
Instant energy.
Exactly. And how does that happen scientifically? It actually creates neurotransmitters in the brain, which is also known as dopamine, that gives you instant feeling of good, being happy. But as soon as the effects wears off, you start feeling low, less energetic, dizzy. Since the dopamine is at a and more sugar. And then vicious cycle continues. Let me share a personal story of myself back in 2018 when I was doing a job that had a great toll on my mental and overall health. I had no other option but to rely on something that had relieved my anger and frustration. I then adopted a very sick habit. Every day, as a coping mechanism, every day after the office hours, I went to the nearby stores and started, buying chocolate, something sweet, and just started consuming it mindlessly. Soon I began to realize that weight gain is one thing, but the effects and the damage it's causing to my overall health would be irreversible if I don't stop. Because sugar actually creates the kind of imbalance in your mind that leads to depression. It makes you feel less stressed over the time being, but it actually weakens your ability to tolerate stress. Overconsumption of sugar may not only lead to stress, anxiety, and depression, but studies also suggest that besides having the risk of developing diabetes, cancer cells also tend to grow on sugar for their growth. Now you can understand how dangerous this consumption is. So how does sugar affect our brain? Sugar actually affects the brain's reward system. The same reward system that helps humans survive. But it is also involved with addictive habits. Craving more sugar, consuming more sugar, foods, sugary drinks, cause a kind of imbalance in your mind that makes you crave more of the food. So, to understand the general behavior of the masses about the consumption of sugar, I conducted a small survey. And to my surprise, I found out almost 61.5% people have admitted that they feel far less in front of sugar. 40% people have said that they have crazy addiction to sweets. Only 24.5% people have said that they are not addicted to sweets, but eating something sweet is a part of their weekly or daily. And 71.1% surprisingly have admitted that eating sweets or consuming food that have high content in sugar is a part of their weekly and daily routine, and they are unable to give up their this habit. So now the real question is intermittent sugar consumption an addiction? The answer is yes, it is. Sugar is as addictive as any other drug can be. Just like any other dangerous drugs, cocaine, heroin. A well-cited study and several brain scans is a very famous study from the Journal of Neuroscience and Biobehavior review suggests that sugar causes the same effects in the brain that other drugs do. Another very famous study that has done on the rats suggests that chronic sugar consumption creates the kind of damage to our brain that abuse done in childhood. So, the consumption of sugar may lead to many disadvantages. But even when you try giving up or reducing your consumption of sugar, you may feel unpleasant medicine, like you may experience frequent depressive moods, anxiety, cognitive issues, you may have memory problems, changes in the sleep pattern, dizziness, nausea, many other things. But let's be real. Nobody would want to abandon sugar completely. Enough. So why not apply the simple formula, that 20-80% rule? Keep all your healthy food, wholesome food into 80% of your diet, and all the sugar and processed food into 20% of it. But we often seem to apply it vice versa, right? I do that too. But trust me, these simple steps prevent baby steps can prevent you from gigantic unmanaged health problems. And you can do it. So who doesn't want more energy, more productivity, better mood stability, more joy, healthier skin, more control over emotions? How many of you want it? Almost all of us want it. So I have 3 simple rules for you that can help you control or curb your sugar addiction or consumption. Rule number 1. Start your day with protein in your breakfast. Starting your day with healthy food may balance out your sugar level in your blood body, and it will also make you more energized and fulfill the entire. Rule number 2. The consumption rule number 2. Whenever you feel craving for eating something sweet, that is happens usually after a lunch or a dinner. What you can do is to just to have a glass of water. Do you know even 5% of dehydration in the body is equivalent to the 20% low energy in the food. And the third and the last rule is find better and less sugary replacements for your high carb. So you can have fewer cravings for the carbohydrates. Leaving your addiction for sugar can be life-changing for you. Only if you must have your courage and take your first step today and now, because you cannot be stronger than your addiction. Thank you.
And this brings us to the end of the prepared speech segment. Now we will be starting our evaluation segment. Just as every plan, yes, we are required to please vote for the best speaker. And before that, we can ask the timer if all of them have qualified.
No, Toastmasters, you can vote for Toastmasters and vote for the Russian. Toastmasters are over.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please vote for the best prepared speaker. And the nominees are Toastmaster Sarah and Toastmaster Raj. For every plan, we usually have a benchmark, which is called key performance indicators. So key performance indicators help us gauge the performance of a plan against a certain criteria. Same rule is applicable in Toastmasters as well. In Toastmasters, every speaker is evaluated against a certain criteria. We can call them an equivalent of key performance indicator. In order to start that evaluation process, I would like to invite the general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Amrita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sarah. So part of the plan is that without wasting any time, we should immediately get feedback from the different evaluators. And I will give my evaluation. I think before that, we need to ask the different role players, isn't it? Report from different role players, it should come earlier, before the evaluators come. So I would request the accountant to please give a report. Okay. All right, fine. So I would call the evaluators to please come up with their evaluation. The evaluators for the, first of all, we had table topics. So I would call Toastmaster Anup, please come and evaluate the table topic. Please.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster, for giving me this role at the little time. Overall, I enjoyed all speakers. They were amazing and marvelous. Let's start with, we had 13 speakers. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Alvina Q. Her speech was beautiful, marvelous, and wonderful. Her speech had all ingredients of the best 3-minute speech. She talked about planning and she linked it with the theme of our meeting. Our second speaker, Toastmaster Imran, he responded to the topic and his body gestures were good, but he need to face all audience. Our third speaker was guest Nair. Am I right? Pronouncing your name right? Okay. Nair, thank you so much for joining us in this session. Our fourth speaker, Toastmaster Dania. Dania started by telling the story of grandparents and grandchildren. He was quite engaging in his conversation. All right. And then we have Toastmaster Sana. Sana acknowledged the audience. She repeated the statement and she differentiated between dream and reality. And she shared her dreams as well. Then we had Toastmaster Rabia. Rabia talked about change. Change is very important and is unavoidable. Her speech had a proper structure. It has proper beginning, middle, and end. Then we had Toastmaster Arthur. His start was amazing. His body language was perfect. He came up with a you may say controversial idea, but he explained with help of examples. Then we had Toastmaster Rashid. He tried his best to handle the topic. After that, Toastmaster Anna, and I'm sure she tried her level best too. And then we had Toastmaster Sohail. Sohail handled the topic quite dexterously. His body language was perfect, and he faced the audiences. Then we had Toastmaster Zeev. Zeev talked about junk food, but I don't want pizza and burgers to be banned. Please don't vote for it. All right. And then after that, our last speaker was Toastmaster Sarah. All right. So we had Sarah. She shared 3 wishes of her life. Overall, this meeting, this session was amazing. All speakers were honest, realistic, and funny as well. They came up with their personal story, and this is how they grabbed the attention of all. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Now I would request the evaluators for Indian speakers. Give their evaluation. Our first speaker was Toastmaster Saral, and she was evaluated by Toastmaster Rabia. So over to you, Toastmaster Rabia, please evaluate Toastmaster Saral. Please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Amrina. It is really an honor for me to evaluate a seasoned Toastmaster, Toastmaster Sarah, for her farewell speech. And I can assure you, Toastmaster Sarah, that we are always delighted to hear you. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. You all must have noticed that Toastmaster Sarah was very confident on the stage. Her body language was all on point, especially when she was saying that very common, or when she was saying that very important, or when she was counting the negotiation styles like on her fingers. So your body language was all on point. The purpose, you have fully nailed the purpose of your speech. The purpose of your speech was to learn different negotiation styles and then share the personal experiences as per your what you have learned. So you have beautifully nailed it. Your eye contact was beautiful. Your head was moving like a radar from one place to another place. So you were not looking at only to some audience. You were looking from to every side. Now, coming to the areas of improvement. My humble suggestion to Toastmaster Sarah is to use more stage movement. For example, when you're quoting one negotiation style, stand at one place, then coming to the next point, to the next place, and then next point to the next place, and next to the next place. In that way, your movement will be more meaningful. Another suggestion would be to use digital slides, or if you're using a hard copy, just use a larger size and prefer not to use in black and white. Doody, not to use in black and white, because it will, there is no, if you are using, sorry, it will give me a more color contrast. So all in all, it was a beautiful, wonderful speech, full of energy, full of information, and well structured. Your message was clear throughout the speech. So Toastmasters Saddle, on the behalf of RTC, I would like to wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And you are an asset of RTC. We are all very proud of you. Over to you, Toastmaster Amrina.
Toastmaster Rashid, and his evaluator is like in another backbencher. I don't know why they love that space, that particular corner, and love to sit over there every time. I've been seeing them in this corner every time when they visit, and we've seen more than 10 months, and maybe others have seen them more over here. So I would request Toastmaster Humayun to please come and give us an evaluation report of Toastmaster Rashid's speech. Over to you, Toastmaster.
As we know that the best speech is the one where we are going to engage our audience. So as far as Toastmaster Rashid's speech is concerned, he has masterfully engaged all the people sitting here. So let's have a big round of applause for Rashid. Talk about the good points which he has spoken about. They are many. They are many in number. So the best thing which I have observed in his speech is that his starting, a starting point. That was from question. And he did not only ask the question, but the most important thing is that he stopped and he took pause to receive the answer from the audience. In this way, in the beginning, he started to catch the attention of the audience. So there are many points, as I have already told, that well prepared. Personal example of autocratic leadership style which he has given, and he has provided us his personal example on his job. And he did some mistakes, and then he learned about all those mistakes and he rectified them. Then the most important thing that I like about his speech is that he is always engaging. He used the name of Toastmaster Hassan. In this way, he is directly communicating with the audience. Then stage movement was good. And last but not the least, he provided the tips that we can apply in our life. And where he learned different leadership styles. He has told us that we have to learn different leadership styles. And then again, he uses fellow Toastmaster and distinguished guests many a time in his speech. And at the end, he gave us conclusion that we need to adopt situational leadership style, which I personally lack. I have learned that we need to modify us according to the situation. As far as improvement is concerned, in order to improve our speech, so he would have added the example of Toastmaster Club, because we are learning leadership style here. And he can use his body language in a very powerful and effective way, because when you are going to talk about leadership, then you have to demonstrate leadership at that particular time. And he needs to work upon his voice modulation. Voice modulation plays an important role. With this, he can improve his speech and he can inspire millions of people across the world. Thank you. Over to you.
For such detailed and elaborate report of evaluation of Toastmaster Rashid's speech, now I would request Toastmaster Adil to please give us an evaluation report of Toastmaster Sana's speech.
Thank you, Daniel Evaluator. As an ardent lover of sugar, that was hard to listen to speech. But I have to say that Toastmasters has many aspects and set a benchmark of how research-based speech should be done. The best thing about her speech was she chose the hardest research method, that is of survey. That tells you how dedicated she is to get the right figures in order to enlighten the audience. So kudos on that, Toastmasters. That's really good. Immediately grabbed all of our attention, and the way she was handling the sugar was absolutely brilliant. I'm sure everyone got engaged as soon as she started her speech. So brilliant way of gathering the audience. Another great thing I loved about her speech is not after going through all of the research on how sugar can be harmful, she didn't just leave it there. That's the speech objective. But she didn't leave the audience hanging. She gave us 3 tips on how we can take the research and improve our lives, how we can regulate our sugar. So adding that extra touch shows how value she's adding to the audience as well. So thank you for that, Usman. And again, she called us for action in order to improve our lives. So that was also brilliant. Now I do have some ingredients on how you can spice up your speech, your sugar-free. Don't worry. First of all is lack of citation. You quoted a lot of studies, but in a research-based speech, you have to establish credibility. Where did that research come from? Which journal? Who did the research? You have to cite your research properly in order to establish credibility. Second, you did take a survey, but you didn't give the background of that survey. Who did you take the survey from? I'm sure you took it from people around here. So that would have added more audience inclusivity if you have told them how you took the survey as well. Next thing, maybe give the audience something for further reading. Toastmaster Andrina did this brilliantly. She shared her resources with the audience so that they can go home and study on that research and make up their own minds. You could have shared that further reading with the audience as well. So in order to summarize the evaluation, your research method was very brilliant. It shows dedication. Use props to gather the attention. That was very brilliant. You had interaction with the audience. You gave extra tips how to take that research and improve your lives. That was very brilliant. The call to action at the end was also good. Be more, explain your citations more, explain how you did your research, and maybe share some further reading so that the audience can take back something home. Overall, great speech, and I'm really looking forward to the next. Thank you.
Elaborate, comprehensive, and full of useful tips report. Now, I would request the role players to please give their results. First of all, I would request the timer to please tell us about the time of. Right. Thank you. So we had 4 evaluators. You can vote for Toastmaster Anna. You can vote for Toastmaster Rabia. You can vote for Toastmaster Amando, and you can vote for Toastmaster Asif. Now I would request the art monitor to please give us a report. His report. I'm sorry. Please, over to you, Toastmaster Anna.
Thank you. I just mentioned to people that 0 counts. Toastmaster Cyril, and then we have Toastmaster Artif, and Toastmaster Aman, and Toastmaster Amrina. All of these had many accounts. Now, to add account, Toastmaster Hansen 2, Toastmaster Saira 2, Toastmaster Imran 4, Toastmaster Rashid 1, Toastmaster Manu Chami 1, Toastmaster Shrip 4, and Toastmaster Rabia Tariq 14, and the winner Toastmaster Sana Shahid 15. And, people used repeated words. Toastmaster Rabia used going almost 4 times in a single sentence, and Toastmaster Manu used and 2 times, and that 3 times.
can challenge off and basically opposite. What does who is the winner today? Anyway, the next role player is Romanian, and I played that role. And what I'm really impressed is that the structures of English language they have improved a lot. There were no grammatical errors in the whole reading. I could identify, though I have a clear for grammatical errors, and if there were any, I take them as of them. There was that word for today, respite, that was used by Toastmaster Saira, and it was used very appropriately. I would also appreciate Toastmaster Saira for using that expression rule of thumb. It means something which is reliable, attested, tried method. And I would say it's better that we all use it in our everyday life. Then Toastmaster Saira used the word weird. When I heard here many people using the word weird, but very hardly or hardly ever in the Toastmasters meeting. You use this word, it means strange or unusual. I want to point out two or three things regarding the use of language very quickly. Toastmaster Suhaib, please just note it that rather practice it for proper nouns. We don't use the. So it's not the Islamabad or the Natyagiri. It's just Islamabad and Natyagiri. Then for Toastmaster Rashid, you refer to narcissistic style of speech of leadership. Narcissistic has nothing to do with Nazis. Narcissistic is somebody who loves himself or herself. So I think there is that you can explain it.
Yes, actually, I will use them equivalent or they have some relation. I was talking about autocratic leadership style, narcissistic leadership style is autocratic leadership style, and Nazi as Hitler as
Nazis.
Nazi. So that is also dictated.
I think it was something which I heard and thought they are connected. But anyway, there are two separate things as Toastmaster Rashid has explained. Narcissist is a person who loves himself or herself, and Nazis, this is a name used for the followers of.
No, I think you are using some other word than narcissistic. Narcissistic is a dictatorial or
it is obviously autocratic, but this is a root word. A narcissist is a leadership style. It is definitely a leadership style.
It is considered to be avoided and
yes. Thank you very much. Toastmasters, and I just want to point out two words which you use, and I would say that if you can improve the pronunciation, one is nausea or nausea. When I heard it, I identified the word, but I felt we need to learn the correct pronunciation. It's nausea or nausea. Both are correct pronunciation. Then the word which you used was gigantic. It was mispronounced somehow. It's gigantic. It comes from the giant, and it is what we call in Urdu geometry. So that is my report as a debate. Thank you very much. I think all role players have given their reports. Now it's time for me for the general evaluation. I can put away these two notebooks which I'm carrying with me. I quickly give a general evaluation report of the whole session. There were 5 very positive things which happened in this meeting. The first positive thing was that we started the meeting exactly at 4:30. Rather, we were ready before 4:30. Highlight of today's meeting is that we catered maximum table topic speakers today. The 13 table topic speakers spoke today, and it was very productive. We are getting more practice of table topic speaking, and there was no waste of time at all, even in table topic speaking. Another third good quality of the table topics is our highlight of today, and particularly the table topics is the topics were very new, they were very interesting, and that they really made the audience think and then speak. So I would appreciate the table topic master, Toastmaster Vasan, for that, for bringing interesting manner. She made the audience participate. She generated a very interesting discussion when she talked about 10,000 hours rule. And that discussion was very productive, very interesting. The responses coming from the audience, they were also very pertinent and very productive and useful for the listeners. The last highlight of the meeting is what I've already mentioned, that there were no grammatical errors in the language spoken by the audience. Here I see a marked difference in the standard of the use of language. When I came to this meeting of Rawalpindi Toastmasters Club way back in November last year, I found that many speakers, whether table topic speakers or prepared speakers, their speeches were full of grammatical errors. But now I could not find any grammatical error. This is another highlight of today's meeting. Let's come to some points of improvement. The first thing I would want to mention is that some participants were late for the meeting. The meeting had already started and it became a little difficult for the people standing over there, whether it was Toastmaster Hassan, who was giving his presidential address, or it was Toastmaster Saira, who was the Toastmaster of the meeting, to connect with the audience because people were walking in, they were sitting. So that created disturbance. Please adhere to the time. 4:30 means we should be seated at 4:30 and the meeting should. Another point which I mentioned last time also, and that is the role players were missing. And one person has to take up two roles. I would appreciate good planning on the part of Toastmaster Hassan, Toastmaster Saira, and Toastmaster Suhaib, who were present, and they quickly distributed the roles. So please be more careful. Make sure if you are not coming, do tell the respective people, the responsible people in time so that they can plan something before time. And people are not burdened with two roles at the same time. And the last thing I would like to mention is maybe we can improve our quality of refreshments. Because over a period of time, we have been eating samosas, and especially those of us who have tasted the delicious food prepared by Toastmaster Rabia for the last 1 year. They must be missing Rabia's food, but maybe we can think over it how we can improve the quality of refreshments. So overall, it was a very productive, useful meeting. Just a minute, Humayun, you can hold on. Humayun class में भी जल्दी होती थी कि जल्दी से class over हो. He was putting his hands together. And Humayun was still annoyed for all those. There is no badness at all. There is nothing in everything. Anyway, that type of person who is waiting for the meeting to be over, it is called a clock watcher. And it's used in the West where the people are looking at the clock of the POV. So next one be clock watcher. We all come here voluntarily, and we should have the patience to listen to each other. By the way, this is just a parting remark. And overall, a very productive, very interesting, very useful meeting. And I hope so, inshallah, we'll have similar meetings in future. Thank you very much. And over to you. Yes, we have to vote for the big three. And the big three for today are Toastmaster Hassan, who was the table topic master, and Toastmaster Saira, who was the Toastmaster of the evening. And the third is Amrina, as I'm standing in front of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Amrina, for the detailed presentation of our meeting. Without wasting further time, I think we can announce the results. So, any guesses from the audience who is the best table topic speaker for today? And yes, there is so I don't know. think is the best evaluator for today? Sorry, this best speaker. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. And best evaluator award goes to the person who is taking the picture right now, sir. For victory, we have to wait for the clap for meanwhile, we can actually call guest Nair on the stage for his certificate of appreciation for joining the meeting. So, please. Meanwhile, you can stay here again. We can actually share your feedback about the meeting as well, how was the experience.
Okay, feedback time. It was a good and wonderful experience. I didn't know anything about Toastmasters. I just have heard about it, and all of the people participated in the meeting. It was a very positive thing. Everybody was appreciative, and everyone was trying to participate and contribute somehow. And the structure is very good. Different roles are assigned to different people, but that makes it prestigious forum, I must say. And the 3 sessions, the first session was table topic. I was given a surprise in that session. That was very good. I think I will join, and if I join, it will also increase my instantaneously speaking skills. And prepared speeches session was also very good. I was thinking that I should come soon on the stage because of very small. And all the evaluators are also doing that, but it was overall a great session.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Warren. With this, we are adjourning this meeting and looking forward to see you all next Sunday. We all can gather for a group photo. Oh, sorry, next Saturday. My bad.